You're listening to C103's Cork Today podcast. Phone and text lines are currently closed.
We're off to the Health Hub Times Square in Ballincollig, where Anneliese Dressel joins me. Good afternoon to you, Anneliese.
Good afternoon, Patricia.
And you are very welcome. Now, there was an email that came in while I was off last week, and John Paul said they read it out and they did get a number of suggestions in from listeners, but we said we'd hold it and we'd bring it to the person who knows best, which is your good self, Anneliese, and it is to do with eczema, or eczema, depending on the way you pronounce it. And it was Abigail writing to us. Her little boy is 8 months old. She said he is destroyed with eczema from head to toe. The GP keeps prescribing steroid creams, but she describes that as being just like a plaster. It's not solving the problem. Now, he has been referred to a dermatologist in a hospital, but she's been waiting 2 months. She only rang last week to discover he hasn't even been triaged yet, so she's going to have a wait before the little fella gets into a dermatologist. She said, my heart is broken for him. He's crying out in his sleep from the itch and the uncomfortableness. And she was looking for advice on what can help with eczema in an 8-month-old baby. It sounds like he is crawling with it, the poor child.
Yeah, it's horrible. It's very distressing because they scrub themselves into a state. My poor sister actually used to scratch herself, Patricia, against the carpet until it was just raw flesh. That's how bad she was when she was younger. So it is very distressing for parents to see that. Now, eczema, in my experience, is really linked with food intolerances and allergies on the whole. So the ones, and it would be very difficult to test a small baby like that, and actually it is also not good to completely eliminate foods from a small baby's diet at that age, because then they can develop into full allergies. But when I do the food intolerance tests, the one that caused the biggest problems are egg and cow's dairy, peas and oranges. They'd probably be the top 4 that come up in the tests. So I would consider maybe removing those from the diet. In terms of the dairy, because I know that would be a big concern for a baby, you could switch maybe over to cow's milk formula. That would be a good one as an alternative, and it's nutritionally fixed to be exactly the same as proper infant formula needs to be, so you don't need to worry that they're not getting their full nutrition. So that would be the first thing I would do, and then take out things like eggs out of the diet, just to be on the safe side for the time being. The second thing then is to work on the gut. So you need a very good probiotic, and one of the ones that has been the best research and the most research on is something called Lactobacillus rhamnosus, GG. So a probiotic like that, I know that Viridian do one, mixed with a broad spectrum probiotic that you can get in powder for babies, and you can put it into their bottles. I would highly recommend that, because that helps educate the gut where a lot of the reactivity is taking place. So that's those two, that's the gut really, and then the skin. So you need to get the good fats in. So for an 8-month-old baby, what I would be doing is I'd be putting avocado into everything. So into the breakfast, lunch and dinner, I'd be blitzing up the avocado to get the good fats into the skin. You could also use Udo's oil, which is very easy to disguise. You can blitz that into different meals for babies as well. And that gets the fat in from the outside and helps to waterproof the skin. So that's that fat side of things. And then putting on the skin. So the ones that seem to get the best feedback are our customers are the Hopes Relief eczema cream. And it works brilliantly. The thing about the steroids, Patricia, is that they do work very well to bring the inflammation down quickly, but you often get a rebound effect, so the skin nearly goes into withdrawal and nearly needs the steroids more. So I would just try and just manage it without that. The Hopes Relief cream is very good. A bath with some sea salt in there if there's no broken skin, or if there is broken skin, try and get your hands on seaweed. The bladder rack one with the little bladder is brilliant for itchy skin. And then I think that's probably...
Yeah, you've covered everything there. A lot of advice there. Okay, yeah, but a lot of it with the skin, as you say, particularly with the eczema, is to work from the inside out. So good luck. And listen, Abigail, heart goes out to you. There's nothing worse than watching a baby be that distressed, even when the little lad is asleep. It's really, really difficult. Okay, straight into questions. Hi, Anneliese. I'm taking Nutri Advance Mega Mac Perimenopause. Can I take Revive Joint Complex at the same time, as I've quite a bit of pain with tendonitis in my ankle?
Absolutely, you can. There'll be a slight bit of crossover, but not a whole lot. Nothing that you really need to be concerned about. So they absolutely do work together. But there are other collagens that are available without other things in there if you wanted to just go for plain collagen. So you could finish out your Revive Active for the joints, and you could switch it over to like a bovine collagen or a fish collagen. Most health shops will have a whole range of different collagens. So you might find something that's a little bit cheaper. And the other thing that's very good as well for tendons, Patricia, is the Rotagrav. It's a homeopathic remedy. It's actually very interesting. I was doing a bit of research on it recently, but I think that the drop in estrogen has a big effect on tendons for women at our age. And so what people think is arthritis is actually tendon pain. So the collagen, very good for that, and the Rotagrav, Rutagrav.
Hi, Anneliese. I play a lot of sports, and I had bites from insects. My leg was swollen and shiny just after the bite. Last year I ended up having to go on antibiotics because it turned into cellulitis. Is there anything I can take to prevent this happening again?
In actual fact, there'll be a little post on the Facebook and Instagram thing. I've it scheduled for this evening. It's called Problem of the Week, and it is about bites. So it is rife at the moment. We're getting loads of people into the shop. The best thing to do is prepare yourself by taking something like a vitamin B1. You need to take that at least a week in advance of going off on holidays. Or if you get bitten in Ireland, you need to take it for the whole summer long. And that, apparently, they don't like the smell of that on the skin. Some people feel by taking garlic, that has the same effect. Then in terms of the bite itself, so there's a homeopathic remedy called Apis meal. And I find this great when I get bitten. I'm very allergic to bee stings, so the best test for me is the bee sting. And I find that works really well. Apis meal, it's called Apismiel. It's a homeopathic remedy. So you take that as soon as you've been bitten. You could also take natural antihistamines, but in my experience, the Apis meal, that works best for me. But the other option is to get an antihistamine in the pharmacy and take that as soon as you get bitten and bring the histamine down. The other thing then I'll be recommending is the Incognito bug spray. So it's a spray that you can get in health shops. You can get it as a roll-on and put it on the skin when you're going to be going out or anywhere where you might be bitten, particularly if you're on holidays at night time around the ankles and the wrists and the back of the neck, because they love those spots where they can bite. So you can spray that on, and if you can't get your hands on that, either the oil of clove or the oil of citronella is a great oil for bug repellent. So you can mix it into body creams and you can also mix it into sun cream.
Yeah, that Incognito, I got that last year and it's excellent. Really, really good product. Hi, Anneliese. I'm on aspirin, blood pressure tablet and a statin tablet. Would it be safe for me to take 600 mgs of turmeric and black pepper for my joints while taking the other medication?
So the very cautious answer there to that is no. And then the other answer is no problem. So turmeric is a blood thinner, and if you're on an aspirin, it's a blood thinner as well. To be honest, Patricia, I only really would worry about the likes of turmeric and fish oils and things like that if you were on the warfarin or the heparin, those other blood thinners that are really heavy-duty blood thinners. I don't think it'll cause much a problem with an aspirin. But this would be a good kind of rule of thumb. If you find that you're bruising very easily on an aspirin, or if you're cutting yourself and it's very hard to stop the bleeding, then do not take things like turmeric or fish oils. But if that's not a problem, I think they should be absolutely fine for you. And you can always tell your doctor the next time you're going. I'm sure they'll say that's absolutely fine too. The thinning is minor, but it's just in some people. If they were going for surgery now, for example, I would say come off all of those just as you would come off an aspirin. But so really, I think it's probably more than likely fine. Yeah.
Okay, what is the best solution for a child with severe constipation? The child simply will not go to the toilet. Oh.
Yeah, now the difficulty here, Patricia, is that if a child gets constipated and it's painful, then they start holding it in. So you're fighting on two fronts there. You're fighting on the fact that there is constipation, and then the child unwilling to actually even try and move their bowels because of the pain. So, look, it's a difficult one. If there's a long-term constipation with the child, it's definitely down to a food intolerance that they're eating. Most people think that IBS is actually diarrhea, but my experience is that the majority of people with IBS get more constipated than diarrhea. So look at the diet and food intolerances. if it's because of lack of fibre, you can put in natural fibres that you can hide, like the psyllium husk is wonderful. You could hide that in a smoothie, or even you could make kind of, yogurt lollipops and put the psyllium husk into that. And that would be getting healthy fibres in there. Foods that are natural laxatives are kiwis. They're great. So again, this would be a great juice in the morning. A smoothie would be 2 kiwis. If you could stick in a bit of rhubarb as well, that's a great one for moving the bowels. And the psyllium husk, and then you can sweeten it up with honey and put in some nice yogurt, whatever it is, to get them to take it. But with the psyllium, just make sure they're drinking plenty of water. There's very few laxatives that are safe for children. The syrup of fig can work very well, Patricia, for some kids. And so then you have to really get over the hump as well of the psychological problems.
Yeah.
So you're going to have to do something like a star chart. Another small tip as well is the squatting can actually often help better than sitting on a toilet bowl. So if you elevate the child's legs, or maybe even put them on a potty, if that's possible, on the toilet seat, put a potty on it so that their legs, they have to kind of crouch. And that position of actually squatting is much easier to move your bowels than sitting.
And that's why in other countries they squat over their toilet.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Hi, Anneliese. What is natural for vaginal dryness during menopause? Intercourse can be very painful. Thanking you.
Yeah, so a very, very, very common problem, Patricia. So if there's other menopause symptoms there, I'd often recommend plant-based hormones because they work across all levels, like HRT does, to increase the moisture to tissue. And this is also, painful intercourse is one thing, but Patricia, another big problem is that women start to get an awful lot of kidney infections because the tissue also in the urinary tract becomes quite dry and sensitive. So natural HRT, you're looking at plant-based hormones, which are called phytoestrogens. If that's not an option, which it mightn't be if some people have a history of cancer in their family, the Dr. Claire Vaginal Dryness Cream works brilliantly. We sell buckets of it, so we've had loads of feedback on it. And you just apply that morning and evening to the outside area. And then there are herbs that can help with libido as well. And again, they will also, by side effect, help with the vaginal dryness. Actually, evening primrose oil, which is often recommended for PMT, that's another lovely one to take for vaginal dryness or dryness of any skin. So will benefit with kidney as well. And then for libido, there's herbs like maca and damiana, and rhodiola. These are all great herbs to kind of help improve libido, but they also will help with vaginal dryness. Okay,
and staying kind of on the same topic. Hi, Anneliese, I suffer from female personalised itch for the last 5 years. It's post-menopause. I've been to the doctor several times with us. The heat in bed drives it mad. The doctor has put me on Vagifem pessaries, but I don't want to be taking them for the rest of my life. Is there any other suggestions?
Well, look, I think if the Vagifem is working, that's great. My experience, actually, Patricia, the Vagifem is basically is hormone. It's natural progesterone. So, but in my experience, some people actually react to the Vagifem, and it makes the itch worse. So, if it's working, I'd say stick with it. But if it's not working, the alternative would be that Dr. Delish Clare Vaginal Dryness Cream. Also, I would recommend in this case a probiotic. And a lot of the probiotics as well can be inserted, Patricia, so the bacteria get right in there. So there's 2 probiotics that we've been getting one that we've been getting amazing feedback on for thrush and for kidney problems. And it's the Nature's Plus ProBio for women. So there's obviously certain strains of probiotics in there that are really good for vaginal health. The other one is, if you can't get that one, the OptiBac for women is a good one. And then finally, there's a spray by a company called Salcura. The spray itself is called Topida, Topida, and that is fantastic for immediate relief. So it has got some starflower oil in there and some nice essential oils that are extremely cooling and soothing. So you could use that as often as you'd need to.
Okay, and a very final one. What would you recommend for bad foot odour? Ooh.
Okay, that's an interesting one now, Patricia. Some people just naturally have really smelly feet,
yeah.
And I don't know why. So obviously there's some genetic thing going on there, but I suppose that it's the basic things is which, don't wear runners that are made of synthetic fibres. So if you go for natural fibres, so canvas runners that would be made from cotton, and leather shoes would be better. Obviously, cotton socks instead of any of those, a lot of those lycra socks. They will make your feet smell very sweaty. And then you can actually get foot sprays. The natural ones would typically have in there things like peppermint. You could use a natural deodorant on your feet as well that would often have salt in there. So any of those would work well as a natural kind of deodorant and prevent it's when the bacteria start to mount up, that's when you get the smell. But I do know that there are deodorants that you can buy, Patricia, that some people get for very smelly feet. I think you might even need a prescription for them. So if it really is bothering you, I would go
have a chat with the doctor.
Have a chat with your doctor.
Okay, listen, have a lovely weekend. We'll chat to you again next Monday, Anneliese. Thank you for that. It's Anneliese Giselle, Health Hub Times Square in Ballincollig. Anneliese will put up all of the advice on her website this afternoon. That's healthhubstore.com. You'll find it under As Heard on the Radio.